The Crow called it Land of the Burning Ground. The Blackfeet called it Land of Many Smoke. And the Kiowas called it Place of Hot Water. But today, we simply call it Yellowstone. Good morning, Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam!
No, that's not right. It's good morning, Wyoming. We are in West Yellowstone, which is actually a community. We're in West Yellowstone, Wyoming, and believe it or not, it actually happens to be the west entrance to Yellowstone National Park. Probably about 40, 45 right now, so it's still a little bit chilly, but we're going to do some exploring. Karen's inside getting ready, and we're going to walk the dogs, and we're going to give you a little bit of 411 about Yellowstone National Park. Yesterday we had Karen's cousin McKenna come by, and she works here at the park, and she kind of gave us the 411 on where to go and what animals to see and where the baby wolves are at and where the baby grizzly bear cubs are at. So the next couple of days we're going to be doing some driving around, and hopefully we can get some good pictures of wildlife. Plus also she gave us some really good 411 on some locations where to see some really neat geysers that a lot of people don't go to and things like that. This RV park I think is around $80 or $90 a night. We've got a pull through, immaculate grounds, and we're about a 3-minute drive from the entrance to the park. And we would highly recommend that if you're thinking about coming to West Glacier, this is the park you should come to. Okay, so one of the things we're going to talk about, and this is not a joke, is actually bear spray. You know, being a retired police officer, you think, oh, I can handle any situation. I've certainly handled gang members and bank robbers and this and that. And if I see a bear out in the wilderness, I'll know what to do. Don't play around with bears. There are bears here in the park, and McKenna was telling us, I asked, like for instance, the grizzly bears. I asked her, are all the grizzly bears tagged and collared? Do they have radio transmitters on them? Do they know where all the grizzly bears are? And the answer, she said, was no, they don't. She said there's a lot of bears here in the park, and a lot of them are not tagged. So don't take this lighthearted. There are bears in Yellowstone National Park. If you're going to go hiking or anytime get out of your car, or potentially even whatever RV park you're in, you could have bears. McKenna told us that even when she goes to work, where she parks her car, she's got a short walk to her office, and every day that she walks to her office, she carries bear spray. So you need to get some bear spray if you're going to be around here, because it's just a safety precaution. Okay, we're going to go walk the dogs, and then I'm going to bring you along with us as we walk the dogs, as I walk through the park here, and then we're going to go exploring in Yellowstone. Okay, so we're about maybe 20-30 yards into the dog trail behind the RV park, and there are some signs on the dog trail to be careful of bears, and coyotes. So I do have my bear spray with me. It's attached to my belt. And we're gonna walk the dogs. This is about the second or third time I've walked the dogs out here. I've not seen any wildlife at all, but I am prepared. And looks like some kids over here have tried to build some kind of a wooden teepee or something like that. I mean, it obviously took some effort because some of the logs are heavy, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm assuming that was maybe an attempted tent or something, not a teepee, maybe an attempted tent. But a lot of effort because, again, some of the logs are heavy, but it probably looked like it'd been there for at least the last year. All right, so this is the dog run, and we're going to head back to the park here in just a minute. On March 1st, 1872, President Ulysses S. Grant signed into existence Yellowstone National Park. The park itself is some 3,471 square miles and is primarily located in northwest Wyoming, but park grounds actually extend into the neighboring states of Montana and Idaho as well. Each year, an average of just over 4 million guests visit Yellowstone National Park, although that is not the most visited national park in the country. That honor goes to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. Yellowstone, however, is just no ordinary park. She has many unique features. The park itself is so large that 90% of all guests only see about 10% of the actual park. Yellowstone is home to the North American grizzly bear, the black bear, bison, moose, elk, beaver, fox, and wolverines, just to name a few. Okay, so we are at, this is called Lower Basin, is that right?
Yes, it's Lower Geyser, or Geyser Lower Basin.
Lower Geyser Basin. And
Something like that.
Something like that. And without being a geologist, as I understand it, there's only 3 types of volcanic activity involving water that you can find. You find geysers, you find mud pots, I think sometimes referred to as paint pots, but mud pots, and then hot springs. And within a third of a mile walk, very short walk, you see all 3 here. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there's, I actually think there's a 4th, and I think you and I are forgetting what it might be. But I'm sure we'll clarify it somewhere.
If then someone knows what a fourth, if someone knows what a 4th one is, send us a message and let us know. But we did see mud pots, hot springs, and geysers,
and steam vents.
And steam vents. Maybe that's the other one. Maybe that's the other one. There you go. Maybe it was steam vents we're leaving out. Geologists that we are.
We're not geologists.
But one of the things we did find out though is that some of the prettiest hot springs are the really bright blue ones, which are super clear. Those are the most dangerous. Those are the ones that are super hot. And I don't know why. Maybe it kills all the algae or something. I'm not quite sure. But the more clear the water, the brighter bluer the water, the more hotter it is.
Yes. I was just trying to see if that grammatically made sense, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it's irrelevant. It's hot.
When I say hotter,
it's just really hot.
How about more hot? More hot? Is it more hot or hotter?
I don't know.
More hot. All right, let's go see if we can find some wildlife.
Yeah.
1988, a massive forest fire erupted within Yellowstone National Park. It took several weeks to eventually get the fire under control, but during that time, nearly one-third of the park was reduced to burnt cinder. The historic Yellowstone Lodge was threatened, as well as the entire community of West Yellowstone, where Karen and I were staying. Since that time, the U.S. Forest Service has learned a lot about forestry conservation and fighting forest fires not just within Yellowstone National Park, but nationwide. For decades, the Forest Service worked into the philosophy that once spotted, immediately extinguish. Although in theory, this sounded like a good policy, the reality was it made things much worse. Forest fires are actually an intricate part of a healthy forest. Forest fires clear out old, sickly dead trees, dead underbrush, and other vegetation which fuels forest fires. In 1988, this dead undergrowth fueled the Yellowstone fire to catastrophic proportions. After the fire was extinguished, park officials feared the worst. They believed the forest would not even begin to regrow for upwards of a decade or more, and that wildlife may take even longer for that to return. Amazingly though, within 18 months of the forest fire being extinguished, new pine tree seedlings were spotted growing out of the ash, and wildlife began to return soon after that. Today, Yellowstone is a healthy, vibrant forest full of beautiful scenery and much wildlife. And by the way, what do park officials do today if a fire starts within the park? As long as it is not endangering a structure or human life, they let it burn and let Mother Nature naturally put the forest out on her own. Now let's get back to exploring Yellowstone. Did you know that there are over 45 named waterfalls within the park and 500 separate geothermal water features? Karen and I really hope you enjoyed this video on Yellowstone National Park. If you've watched any of our previous videos, you know this is the section where we tell you that we're going to leave you with some of our favorite videos and photographs from the locations we visited. But we can't do that here at Yellowstone National Park because we really can't find any favorite photographs or videos. They're all wonderful and we just can't decide which is our favorite. Anyways, if you did like this video, consider subscribing on YouTube. It's completely free, doesn't cost you any money at all, and it really helps Karen and I continue on with our journey. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for real-time updates on what Blue Line RV Adventures is up to. And don't forget, at Blue Line RV Adventures, we got your six.